Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
So it goes right. It's just that.
Okay, good evening. We're going to call to order the community hearing of the Public Service Commission for the District of Columbia in formal case number 1176 in the matter of the application of the Potomac Electric Power Company for authority to implement a multi-year rate plan for electric distribution service in the District of Columbia. I'm Emil C. Thompson, Chairman of the DC Public Service Commission. I am joined by Commissioner Richard Beverly, Commissioner Ted Trabue. For the record, today is April 3rd, 2024, and we're convening this hearing at 5:30 p.m. in the Commission's hearing room to discuss PEPCO's rate increase application. This community hearing is a hybrid meeting with in-person and call-in testimony. If anyone viewing this community hearing wants to testify or comment, I encourage you to do so. The instructions are listed on the Commission's website, including the link to join via computer and phone number and access code if you want to join by phone. But I'll also provide instruction here. To join via computer or laptop, please go to the calendar on our homepage of our website at www.dcpsc.org and click on the link for FC1176 Community Hearing Hybrid. There you will find the link to access WebEx. To join via phone, dial 1-650-479-3208. The access code is 2307-600-4073. The attendee password is 929-32564. If you join by phone, when it's your turn to speak, you will hear a prompt to press *6 to unmute yourself. So hopefully everybody got that. By way of background, on April 13, 2023, PEPCO submitted an application for approval to increase existing distribution service rates and charges for electric service in the District of Columbia by $190.7 million through the implementation of a multi-year rate plan for calendar years 2024 through 2026. PEPCO requests authority to earn overall rates of 7.7%, 7.78%, and 7.79% for the MRP years of 2024, 2025, and 2026, including a return on common equity of 10.5%. PEPCO represents that its application would translate to an increase in distribution rates of approximately $6.18 per month for a typical residential customer who uses 614 kilowatt hours per month. The commission directed PEPCO to file supplemental testimony and exhibits along with supporting schedules to support a traditional one-year rate case for the test period calendar year 2023. It is estimated that under a traditional one-year case, the increase is approximately $10.97 per month per average residential customer. Both proposals are before the commission. Under the District of Columbia Code, the commission can only approve PEPCO's MRP as an alternative form of regulation if the commission finds that the MRP A, protects customers, B, ensures the quality, availability, and reliability of PEPCO's electric services, and C, is in the interest of the public, including shareholders of the electric company. A little about your electric bill. When you look at your bill, you may wonder what rates are regulated by the commission and are subject to this rate case. There are three components of your bill. PEPCO is the only company authorized in the district to distribute electricity. One part of your bill is called the distribution rate, or what it costs PEPCO to deliver electric service to customers. This rate covers the costs for the meters, the wires, the poles, the conduit, the customer service people, the repairs, restoration after storms, and all things necessary to operate the delivery system for electricity in the district. There's another part of your bill, which is for electricity itself, and that is generated by an electric generation company. The rate for electricity that is generated by an electric generation company is not the subject of this hearing because the commission does not regulate the charges for generation generated by an electric generation company, either from competitive electric suppliers or through the standard offer service. Those electric supply rates are set by the market. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission regulates interstate transactions involving the sale of electricity energy and the interstate transmission charges that transmission owners charge for delivering electricity. The third part of your bill includes taxes, surcharges, and fees that the Council of the District of Columbia has authorized to be imposed on PEPCO that can be recovered from PEPCO's customers. At this time, I would like to acknowledge Commissioner Beverly and Commissioner Trabue for any comments.
So I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this afternoon, especially in the rain, to share your thoughts with us. I want to acknowledge staff for staying and dedicating their time to listen to what you have to say as well. So thank you for attending this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioner Beverly. I would like to echo Commissioner Beverly's sentiments and thanking all of our residents and other interested parties for coming out tonight through all of this liquid sunshine to participate in the very important hearing that we're having this evening, the third of three hearings that we've had over the last week and a half or so to form public opinion and understand public opinion on this very important rate case. So again, thank you very much for coming out this evening, and we look forward to your testimony.
Thank you. I would also like to take this time to acknowledge the Office of People's Counsel. If there's any representatives from the office here. They are the statutory party in all cases before the commission and represent District of Columbia ratepayers and consumers. As a preliminary matter, please silence your mobile phones. A stenographer is transcribing today's hearing. Representatives of organizations shall be permitted a maximum of 5 minutes for oral presentation, and individuals will have a maximum of 3 minutes. Written comments or statements can be filed until April 26, 2024 by sending them to Brenda Westbrook Sedgwick, Commission Secretary. Her email address is psc-commissionsecretary@dc.gov. She's also seated to my left. If possible, when testifying, please avoid the use of acronyms, which may be difficult for the stenographer and for others to comprehend. We will now start this hearing by calling first our pre-registered witnesses. I'd like to first call Mr. Antoine Thompson, no relation, to the podium. While you're speaking, please speak clearly and loudly. Since the hearing is being recorded, I would ask you to state your name and whether you are testifying as an individual or on behalf of an organization. And if you are testifying on behalf of an organization, just state the organization. And then last but certainly not least, please make sure you press the button on your mic so that your voice is captured.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. Thank you, Commissioners. Antoine Thompson, representing Greater Washington Region Clean Cities Coalition. I'm the CEO and Executive Director of Greater Washington Region Clean Cities, a public-private partnership that promotes the use of clean American transportation fuels, alternative fuels, improve air quality, environmental justice, diversity, and inclusion as well. I commend you for your service. I am a former state senator from New York, former chair, first African-American to chair the Committee on Environmental Conservation, and also a former city council member as well. I serve on a number of regional and national boards related to clean energy and clean transportation. Greater Washington Region Clean Cities Coalition expresses its support for PEPCO's Climate Ready Path DC multi-year plan. We support their efforts to make investments to ensure a climate-ready grid for the future and its commitment to assisting the District of Columbia in achieving its energy goals. In 2022, PEPCO proposed Climate Solutions Plan, a multifaceted strategy that advances smarter, stronger, and cleaner energy systems for DC. It's important to note that DC's, the district's clean energy goals seeks to achieve carbon neutrality by 2045. And our office has been very involved with a number. We currently run over 8 EV-related projects. We also, in fact, right before I came here, we just got another federal award for alternative fuels for biodiesel. And we work with DC Public Works and DC Department of Water on alternative fuel projects as well. But I want to say that we really need your help to move this along. DC, there are big gaps. We know about food deserts. We know about bank deserts. Now we're talking about charging deserts. There's an aggressive $7,500 rebate to purchase a electric vehicle from the federal government at point of sale, and there's a $4,000 for use. But a lot of folks in DC are not able, they're in this kind of catch-22 situation, right? We're out doing outreach events all the time. And what we find is that people want to get EVs and Ward 7, 8, and 5, but they're faced with this challenge of where will they charge their car, because more than half the district does not have access to home-based charging. So we've got to accelerate that. I think PEPCO is a critical partner of that. And we need them to be able to not have their hands tied. Exelon as a company has been, and PEPCO has been very aggressive on the Maryland side with deploying public charging. We need to see that happen in DC, and anything that we can do to help in that. All the community centers, all the major libraries in Prince George's County have EV chargers, same company, different reality in DC. We need your help to change that, and hopefully this process will do that. Thank you, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Commissioner Beverly? Mr. Thompson, thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you, thank you. And anything we can do to help, I'm always here to help.
Absolutely. But before you leave, approximately how many charging stations do we have now in the district, and in your organization's view, about how many more would we need to be at a point where I think your organization feels where we should be? I think you're saying we need more. But
yeah, I don't have the
what's that
stats
critical
in
mass
front of
number
me.
in this?
I know that DC has a couple hundred public chargers right now, but given that we, that nationally we need 1.4 and 1.7 million, right? I think in our number, based on, and I don't necessarily agree with all the numbers in the district's couple of their plans. I think we're probably going to need easily well over 15,000 between the level 2, because I'm not talking all level 3 chargers, the super fast chargers. But we need to, I was just reading an article yesterday on LA, and I know it's a lot bigger, but if you do per capita, they have them on light poles. I think over 1,000 on light poles alone. We don't have that in DC. It's not just level 3s, the DC fast chargers, or the level 2s, but we have a long way to go. And I think we need to be able to get them on light poles. We need to get them at every library, hopefully before the end of the year. Every city hall finally just got 2, right? So we're so far behind in terms of getting them on public assets. So, yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And we strongly support Councilmember Allen's proposal. I think it was like 7,500, but that's still not enough. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Before we call our next witness, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Office of People's Counsel, Sandra Maru Fry, who's just walked in.
I'm pleased to be here and to see so many people here. Great, right? Is that a smile stand that open?
Thank you. Oh, yeah, of course, please.
Anything written, this is just paper. I did want to say again, thank you for giving me an opportunity to be here. I have been to many, many community meetings in my lifetime, and it's always interesting to get to hear and see what people have to say. I'm always most impressed by those people, the lay people that come out without any sort of compensation or without any connection to PEPCO, but are here to tell the commissioners how these rate increases really impact them. And that's important because those are real. And they feel them just as much as, anyone. And what's interesting to me is how that energy burden, as we now, flipping term that we use, really does impact. And when we say, most of the people that are sitting here today, their incomes are sufficient that their energy responsibility, I'm not going to even call it a burden because it's an energy responsibility, is so minimal that it's no more than this cup of coffee. Whereas other people, their energy burden is tremendous and they are paying almost close to 50% of their disposable income. And that's real. We don't think of it as being real, but it really is. So it's important for me to be here. It is also more important for consumers to be here so that the commission can really hear, what's going on and how it's impacting their lives. As I said, I don't have a prepared statement. I and my office, we are here representing those consumers that don't have a voice and that don't come out to community hearings and, have to take off from work to attend a community hearing, have to come after work in the rain to attend a community meeting. So we're here, not only am I speaking, but we're also listening. And other members of my staff are here as well. And we're here, and we just hope that the commission makes the right decision and takes all factors into consideration when they do so. Well, thank you very much. Very glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam People's Counsel. Good to see you as always.
Next, we'll call Mr. Keith Fox to the podium.
Hi, good evening. This thing adjusting? My apologies. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission and Office of the People's Counsel. Good to see you again. My name is Keith Fox. I'm a professional engineer and principal at Fox STEM Engineering, a DC-based civil and structural engineering firm founded in 2020 and also a ratepayer. I am here today to express Fox STEM's full support for PEPCO's Climate Ready Pathway DC plan and respectfully ask for the approval of formal case 1176 by the Public Service Commission. I have witnessed firsthand the transformative impact of PEPCO's commitment to sustainability and infrastructure development in our community. Fox STEM has the privilege of being a prime contractor on the Capital Grid project, our first prime contract, thanks to PEPCO. One of the projects identified in PEPCO's multi-year plan is that Capital Grid project. We provide support to a number of PEPCO's contractors, some in the room here, to deliver critical projects in the public space. As you know, the Capital Grid project includes nearly 10 miles of undergrounding of transmission lines and is a multi-phase project. Being a prime contractor on this important project has helped our business grow and expand our workforce, including hiring DC residents. Furthermore, our collaboration with Pepco has provided more opportunities for Fox STEM to win additional contracts with other utilities. I'm also advocating strongly for this multi-year plan in contrast to a single-year plan because from our perspective as a small business, the predictability associated with a multi-year plan is invaluable for budgeting, hiring, and overall strategy planning. A 3-year outlook on rates and infrastructure projects as proposed by this multi-year plan provides a solid foundation for our business to plan our hiring and growth strategies with confidence. Pepco's Climate Ready Pathway DC Plan and the approval of formal case 1176 are crucial steps towards a more sustainable and prosperous future for the district and Fox STEM. Furthermore, the multi-year plan represents a commitment to the broader community's economic and environmental well-being. I therefore respectfully, strongly urge the Public Service Commission to approve Pepco's multi-year plan, ensuring continued growth, innovation, and resilience for our city and our small businesses. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. Thank you for your consideration, and I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Any questions?
Mr. Fox, just very quickly, first of all, thank you again for your testimony. About how old is your firm and approximately how many DC residents do you employ?
So our firm just entering our 4th year, and we have about 21 employees. I would say somewhere between 7 and 10 are DC residents.
Okay. They do what sorts of work?
So everything from engineering, staffing, HR, IT. So our company is mostly engineers, but we have a lot of support staff also. I'd say probably on the engineering side, maybe 3 engineers from District of Columbia.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
And we also do interns from the District of Columbia.
Very important as
Thank
well.
Thank you. Next, I'll call Ms. Shalor C. Williams. He's not there. He's ready. Okay. I believe Ms. Williams is going to join us virtually.
Yes,
How are you doing, Ms. Williams?
I'm fantastic. And thank you for allowing me to say hello to you today and speak on this issue. I want to say good evening, commissioners, neighbors, and community members. My name is Shalor Williams, and I am the president and CEO of the Development Corporation of Columbia Heights. Many people say DCCH, but I'll just say I'll give the full name. Our office is located at 2604 Georgia Avenue Northwest, just a few blocks from Pepco's Harvard substation. Development Corporation was established in 1984 as a nonprofit advocacy platform with the goal to revitalize and bring much needed resources to underserved neighbors. So I state firsthand that we are in support of Pepco's efforts to upgrade its grid for the future. The Development Corporation of Columbia Heights has and will continue to use smart strategies with Pepco's continued assistance to implement neighborhood revitalization projects and benefit low and moderate income households. Development Corporation is proud of its record of accomplishments, which includes providing grants to small businesses, assisting over 500 businesses with technical training and preparing for grant proposals and partnering with developers on revitalization projects, especially in Columbia Heights. We are ownership. We own and manage approximately 53 apartment units, for low and moderate households in Columbia Heights. We exist to help residents in Columbia Heights to excel in the future. That's why Pepco's plan to invest in its electrical grid is important, and we believe will enhance reliability, provide jobs, and update the internet security protection for the future. Pepco has been steadfast in sharing information about its multi-year plan with the community. A Development Corporation of Columbia Heights representative attended one of Pepco's briefings last year, where Pepco staff presented the multi-year plan and discussed some of the benefits that the district residents will benefit from. I learned that Pepco's multi-year plan is a strategic approach to upgrade the grid for the future and to expand its capacity to host more rooftop and community solar, which will help customer billing accounts. Pepco also has shared that they would invest in modern technology on the grid to prevent and lower the risk of cyber attacks. Enhancing the grid security helps to keep customers' information secure and ultimately the grid secure. This is extremely important because personal and business information must be secured because we are the nation's capital. The multi-year plan also represents job opportunities for our community. This project took a lot of manpower to complete. We have personally witnessed this as they completed and upgraded the Columbia Heights Harbor substation. This project took several years and many individuals to complete. We know that these jobs were good jobs with good benefits. Pepco has been active in our community, and Pepco has promoted and continues to promote the DC Infrastructure Academy to help train district residents for these jobs. We fully support Pepco's efforts to hire DC residents and support local businesses as they execute their multi-year plan and strategy. Pepco has included plans on how residents can afford the increased rates. This is important to Development Corporation of Columbia Heights because we own and manage apartment units where many of our residents are families and senior citizens on fixed income. Pepco has been instrumental in addressing our tenants' issues with energy assistance programs. Pepco has demonstrated that they are a community partner for all homeowners, tenants, businesses, schools, and universities, and is committed to supporting our Columbia Heights community as well as this great city. I think that you should know that DCCH, or Development Corporation of Columbia Heights, in conclusion, is in full support of Pepco's effort and its multi-year plan. Thank you for having me come this afternoon.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
No, I have no questions, Ms. Williams. It's good to hear you. Thank you.
Next, we'll call Mr. Matthias Pouston. I believe he's also going to be on WebEx.
Yes, good evening. My name is Matthias Postian. I am a resident of Ward 4, and I speak to you today in strong opposition to this multi-year rate plan. The rate increase that's being asked for is extremely high. Pepco is asking to raise residential electricity rates by over 20%, over a 3-year period. The component of electricity rates that Pepco controls, distribution charges, would rise by around 37% in that same period. The proposed rate plan places a disproportionate burden on residential customers. The residential customer class would see a rate increase more than 2 times that of the system average. And these rate increases come on top of a long series of rate increases in recent years. In the last 15 years, rates have risen faster than the overall cost of living. In particular, residential distribution rates in DC have increased at a nearly 2.4 times the rate of inflation. And I just remind everyone that overall load growth in DC was broadly flat, just as in the nation over the last 15 years or so. You're kind of asking yourself, what are we paying all this money for when load is basically flat? Now, a lot has been said about the need to invest in infrastructure because of so-called climate benefits. I'm just going to point to OPC's analysis that shows that around 90 to 95% of the proposed investments are business as usual in nature and cannot be matched to any reductions in greenhouse gas emissions or improvements in energy efficiency. In particular, PEPCO has not been able to identify how it will measure the success of its investments in meeting the district's climate and clean energy goals. The rate plan also points out that the district's climate policy requires a significant shift to electrification, and it says that the climate-ready grid investments are needed to support reliability and resiliency. However, when asked to provide its forecast for the anticipated growth in electrification, I believe in response to a data request from AOBA, PEPCO said it does not directly include electrification in its year load forecasts. PEPCO also said it does not include forecasts for conversion of gas heating to electric heating. So there is a disconnect between the statements that we need to invest in those things and there being no analysis done to actually support how much load is going to grow. The district government commissioned an electrification roadmap study that found that PEPCO's system is well equipped to handle the projected electrification loads from building and transportation electrification up to the year 2032. And they found that those combined electrification loads are not expected to exceed substation capacity in any zone within DC. So again, I'm just questioning the need to invest all this money when there have been studies done that show in the foreseeable future, there is no need to invest this money. Lots of folks have spoken to electrification for transportation. I'm just going to point out the issue of who benefits and who pays. 40% of residents in DC do not own a car. Most of these folks are much more likely to be low-income folks or middle-income folks, and electric vehicles so far are confined to middle or higher income groups. So I'm just going to point out that we might be asking everybody to chip in, and the benefits are going to go to folks who are better off. All right, now, finally, the multi-year rate plan issue. The Commission promised to review the success and failure of this new regulatory mechanism before considering any renewal or permanent multi-year plan. And this review did not occur before PEPCO submitted this application. I don't think we should engage in another multi-year rate plan before we've actually evaluated whether we've benefited from that kind of plan as opposed to regular forms of rate making. In particular, if we do engage in any alternative forms of rate making, there should be performance incentive mechanisms attached to the rate plans, meaning that PEPCO should be rewarded for doing more than business as usual activities. For example, quantitative targets for the adoptions of non-wired alternatives to traditional grid upgrade projects, battery storage, virtual power plants. If you do something more than business as usual, be rewarded for that. If you did business as usual, there is no need to engage in alternative forms of rate making like multi-year plans. All right, finally, I have very substantial reservations against the component of this plan that allows PEPCO to make its own forecasts of future costs. The issue with that is that it creates perverse incentives, right? PEPCO is going to make a forecast, and that is incentivizing it ex post to seek out high cost activities, even if future costs may turn out lower than they anticipate. And the reason is simply that PEPCO benefits from capital expenditures. If it turns out that they can do it cheaper, if they already got a certain level of expenditures pre-authorized based on their own forecast, what incentives do they have to contain costs? Let me give you an analogy. Imagine you give a kid $1 to buy one piece of candy, and you expect the price of candy to be $1 a piece. Kid goes to the store, finds that candy only costs 50 cents a piece. What's the kid going to do? Is he going to go and say, well, I'm only going to buy this one piece of candy, and I'm going to give my mom 50 cents back? No. Kid's going to say, I'm going to buy 2 pieces of candy. You gave me $1. I was allowed to spend the $1. I could have only spent 50 cents and give you the rest back, but I'm not going to do that. Similarly, Pepco is going to find ways to spend the money you pre-authorize it. And so the idea that you base the rate application on Pepco's own forecast sets incentives to engage in excessive costs and expenditures. And so I would advise not to approve that kind of rate-based mechanism. And so in conclusion, I strongly oppose this rate plan. I don't think there is a basis for doing this as opposed to regular based types of regulatory mechanisms, such as pick a test year and then do what you always do. I think that'd be much better than another 3-year multi-rate case. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Poston.
No questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next, I'll call Mr. Florentino Gregorio.
Evening. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Florentino Gregorio, and I'm the President of Anchor Construction Corporation. I'm here this evening to speak and support the Pepco multi-year rate plan, the Climate Ready Pathway, formal case 1176, and request approval of it by the Public Service Commission. Even though the majority of my comments will be about Anchor, I feel that I better sense of who I am. I was born in Portugal, one of 3 children, the oldest, to Enrique and Lucinda, my parents. My father's dream was for us to be able to experience the American dream. A little
bit. It's kind of hard for us to hear you.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's better. I hear myself. And through his sacrifice and drive, I was able to immigrate to the United States as a young boy. As soon as I was old enough, I was able to work the summer construction jobs. Working in construction sparked my interest in civil engineering, and I went on to graduate from University of Maryland with a bachelor's in science and civil engineering. I started Anchor Construction in 1985 as a small business in a small yard in Northeast DC with a very small number of people, employees, working, repairing sidewalks. With a lot of hard work and a lot of good people, Anchor was able to grow since then, and particularly with the great help of being a minority-owned business and a disadvantaged business enterprise certified by the state, local, county, and city municipalities. Our headquarters still remains in Northeast DC. We're a certified business enterprise, having certification as a local enterprise, as a longtime resident business, and having our headquarters in the development enterprise zone. Now, with the diverse workforce of 400 or so employees, Anchor has completed probably over 1,000 contracts for the public and private. While Anchor specializes primarily in underground utilities infrastructure work, such as electrical, water, sewer, storm, and communications, also performs some bridge work, structures, green infrastructures, and other civil work. One of our proudest achievements is the status of diverse contractor with a choice with COC for Exelon. This enormous opportunity provides by Exelon partnership and resources has led to significant growth for Anchor, and more important, has allowed Anchor to provide lots of jobs for a lot of provide for a lot of families, while making a lasting contribution to our communities by improving their quality of life, by ensuring that we have a reliable source of water and power. Pepco's multi-year plan identifies several investments that will be made over a 3-year plan. to the investments identified or projects for which Anchor is presently a contractor, Copper Grid and Downtown Resupply. Through this work, Anchor is able to support numerous full-time equivalent jobs, contributing substantially to tax revenue to the district. These projects also allow for our own workforce development. As you know, Anchor administers a DOS-approved enterprise program for pipe layers. The 2-year program combines classroom and job experiences, the graduates of which will allow our younger workers to obtain the skills necessary to grow and become business leaders in their own right. These projects will be vital to the continued growth of the apprenticeship program. It gives me great pleasure to see our people do well and succeed. I'd like to address the multi-year nature of PEPCO's plan, which Anchor strongly supports. Having regulatory approval over a 3-year period provides PEPCO the certainty of being able to perform such important work infrastructure projects as Copper Grid and Downtown Resupply, which turns enables COCs such as Anchor the ability to better plan and budget. We're therefore very much in favor of this plan, a multi-year plan, as opposed to the more traditional 1-year rate plan. Anchor also has a strong spirit of giving back to the community, as a sampling of the charities and causes that Anchor supports include Cause USA, assisting wounded veterans, YMCA, Angels of the Battlefield, supporting military, medical, and first responders, support DC Police Foundation, a Wider Circle, a DC-based social service organization, Turning the Page, assisting parental development and education, Food Drive, Capital Area Food Bank, DC Students Construction Trade Foundation, and the FI Silver Theater Cultural Center. Our leadership team and employees have also proudly contributed to the support of PEPCO's effort of the DC Infrastructure Academy. Anchor has assisted by offering the services as instructors and has also employed some of the graduates from the program. All of them continue to grow, and, opportunities provided by Anchor by Exelon. Thank you for permitting me the opportunity to speak to you about this important matter. Please do not see this as a multi-year plan as an expense, but as an investment. And importance of DC business and, more important, DC employment. It is not exaggeration to say Exelon's investment allows me to continue to achieve my American dream. You can make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gregorio. Any questions?
No, thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, I'll call Mr. Jerry Williford to the podium.
Good evening, Public Service Commissioners and guests. My name is Jerry R. Williford Jr. I'm the President, Business Manager, Financial Secretary for IBEW Local 1900. We represent more than 1,100 working men and women in the Washington, D.C. area. We represent working men and women in a wide and diverse variety of fields, including PEPCO, utilities, Lanyard Power, Washington Gas and Frederick, and government agencies that include the Architect of the Capitol, Bureau of Engraving and Printing, U.S. Government Publishing Office, and the National Institutes of Standards and Technology. Let me start by saying, on behalf of the hundreds of hardworking union members of Local 1900, we have carefully considered the details of this plan and are overwhelmingly in support of PEPCO's Climate Ready Pathway DC multi-year rate plan for various important reasons. Under the multi-year rate plan, PEPCO will execute several significant projects to include critical infrastructure and enhance grid performance and meet customers' current and future needs. The planned investments Pepco will make as part of this plan will generously translate into the creation of many lucrative, well-paid union jobs with competitive wages and benefits for our members and other residents in the DC region and beyond. As estimates indicate that investments made from this plan will require the support of approximately 3,800 full-time jobs. Our proud members do this type of work and are capable and well-positioned with the exact type of technical knowledge, skills, and expertise that it will take to complete these critical projects successfully in a timely, cost-effective manner. It is important to note that it is our union workers that are currently installing nearly 10 miles of transmission line in the Capital Grid project, which is also one of the largest infrastructure projects on the East Coast. Soon, our workers will begin to work to relocate infrastructure along Benning Road to accommodate the expansion of the DC streetlight and enhance the Benning Road I-95 exchange. Let me also emphasize that these critical investments will generate the creation of many other newly created jobs indirectly, including jobs related to the manufacturing and supply of materials and equipment, transporting materials to and from the job sites, and these workers will also support local businesses, which will further improve the economic welfare of local DC businesses. These projects will also require the employment and support of many contractors, some which will be represented by organized labor. Pepco has a long, distinguished history of community engagement and is fully committed to hiring residents of DC as well. Pepco and its parent company, Exelon, were early supporters of the DC Infrastructure Academy, which is a phenomenal initiative offering 100% of its graduates with good job opportunities at Pepco, its contractors, or other major employers in the DC region. Our members include several DCI graduates, and I can attest to the fact that Pepco has developed and implemented highly effective training and progression programs that enable these employees to complete an apprentice program where they can earn over $110,000 annually with no overtime in 4 years. This program has graduated over 200 individuals since its inception, and it serves as a main recruiting resource for contractors and other employers in the district. All DCI graduates are DC residents, and I'm proud to say that I constantly receive feedback including or indicating that it's life-changing for them. I'm actually a mentor to probably about 30 of these young people. And it's one of the, it's a big deal. Pardon me for that. Today, there are not many jobs in the DC region that can provide residents with an opportunity to earn good wages, in many cases up to 6 figures and above annually without a college degree. These projects provide an alternative, successful career path for those that choose to attend trade and technical schools, which are now a critical part of America's workforce of the future. Our union brothers at IBEW Local 1900 are proud of the work that we do, which helps to keep the nation's capital a vibrant city ready for the future. And we strongly believe that the Pepco Climate Ready Pathway DC multi-year rate plan represents job security and competitive wages and benefits for our working men and women and hundreds of other working residents. This is why IBEW Local 1900 union brothers and sisters kindly ask that you approve the plan to ensure that our members have the opportunity to work on a long-term, multi-year investment plan that will improve the economy of DC and the welfare of its residents. Thank you. And just another thing, of the 1,100 that we represent, 970 of them are Pepco employees. And of those 970, close to 400 are DC residents. So I just want to share that with you as well. And I appreciate your time. Very passionate about the Infrastructure Academy. If you have an opportunity, April 11th, they have a graduation over on Pomeroy Road. If you can be there, it's unbelievable. Come experience it. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Mr. Williford. I will certainly tell you that I've had the opportunity to go down to the Infrastructure Academy and been on a number of other engagements with them, and it is truly an amazing program and what they're doing
sir.
down there. Just not on the PEPCO side, but across the academy, it's truly impactful. So
Yeah.
I understand why you feel the way you feel.
Yep. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Williford, I just wanted to say thank you as well, and thank you for your commitment to hiring and training and advancing the careers of district residents. It's very important in this community.
It is to our local as well. Thank you very much.
Next, I'll call Mr. Dan Tangerlini.
Very much. Good evening, Chairman Thompson, Commissioners Beverly and Trayview, Madam People's Council, and those joining us in person and virtually. My name is Dan Tangerlini, and I'm here tonight in support of PEPCO's multi-year rate plan, or MYP. I'll submit my longer statement in the form of a letter for the record and highlight certain points in my oral testimony. I've worked extensively with PEPCO in various professional roles, including my current capacity. More significantly, though, and why I'm here tonight, is I've been a PEPCO customer for more than 30 years as a resident of the Capitol Hill community in Northeast DC. Recently, we completed the transition to an exclusively electric home, installed solar, replaced our boiler with an air-to-water heat pump, upgraded our electrical service, and provided for the near-term installation of a level 2 electric car charger. We've committed ourselves entirely to PEPCO as our sole energy utility provider. So ensuring PEPCO has both the resources and regulatory direction to appropriately protect, expand, and modernize the district's grid is essential to supporting those of us who've made the transition to sustainable energy, as well as those who will join us. The proposed MYP would achieve significant efficiencies by establishing locked and predictable pricing for consumers for multiple years. Having such predictability is an important feature of PEPCO's plan, as it provides customers certainty for distribution rates for multiple years, while allowing PEPCO and the DCPSC to spend more time evaluating impacts and planning for the future. Of critical importance is the need to safeguard those who cannot afford to make the sort of investments we have made. That is why it is reassuring to see that the MYP makes several proposals to address affordability, particularly the emphasis given to the Residential Aid Program, or RAD, which removes distribution costs from an individual's bill, making them immune from rate increases such as those sought in this proposal. It's my understanding that the income levels for the RAD program is much higher than for similar energy assistance programs, broadening the reach of this effort. Notwithstanding, given current energy price trends, I'm sure you will pay particularly close attention to the size of the requested increases. The residents of the district and its government are committed to a zero emissions future. Those responsible for ensuring this outcome need to rise to the challenge and use all appropriate tools to ensure the success of a clean energy transition. The investments and projects envisioned by PEPCO in this rate plan are aligned with the city's goals of carbon neutrality by 2045 and will build the system's capacity and, more specifically, allow for greater use of distributed energy resources such as battery storage, solar, and microgrids. Given the compact service area, the sophisticated customer base, committed jurisdictional government partners, and clear imperative, the DCPSC and PEPCO could provide national leadership that will encourage the transition to sustainable energy while enabling new businesses and job creation here in DC. PEPCO can lead the way in welcoming the expansion of new industries and technological innovations in the district by providing a modern, sophisticated, and accessible grid. It can do so while protecting those most vulnerable, price sensitive to rate changes. The Public Service Commission can take another step in this direction by approving the MYP. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Tangerlini, after so many years of working with you in so many different circles, it's great to see you here in this room tonight. Longtime resident of the district and former director of various district government and federal government agencies. But I want to ask you something in your personal capacity as one who has gone from a home that used gas and electricity to all electric. How difficult was the switch? You know, we're having these conversations in a myriad of different quarters around the city. How difficult was the switch, and how have you found it now? Were there challenges in terms of system upgrades on your block or within your home that you had to accomplish?
No, actually, that was one of the things that I found to be most gratifying was the actual connection with Pepco that's been the best part so far. Our contractor base, our individual contractor base serving residents is still warming up to this idea, if you pardon the pun. And many of them are very familiar with traditional heating systems and aren't really excited about making the transition to something as particularly unique as what we did, which was an air to water heat pump. I think that that's one of the big challenges and really where a lot of effort and energy could go into on the part of the different regulatory authorities and other people who support this transition is making it easier for individual citizens to take that right step in the direction of sustainability.
Okay. And the interconnection with your solar system?
Yeah, that was actually pretty straightforward. And the current regulatory regime that DC has for solar installation for individual residents is one of the best in the country, and we've benefited tremendously from that. And I think other people in the community then are now encouraged to participate in this distributed electrical generation mechanism. We need to then have a grid that then supports that.
Thank you very much. Good to see you again.
It's good to see all of you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Next, I'll call Ms. Naomi Cohen Shields. Call Mr. Michael Powers.
Thank you, Chairman Thompson, and gentle persons of the commission. I would like to support Pepco's Climate Ready Pathway DC multi-year plan. I am Michael Powers, Safety Coordinator of IBEW Local Union 70 in Forestville, Maryland. I represent 1,950 essential personnel dedicated to the building, servicing, and maintaining of our critical electrical grid. Local 70 is a proud participating partner in the DCIA Infrastructure Academy, whereby which we do OSHA training for the participants in the DCIA and DC residents. Again, something we're very proud of. I wholeheartedly support Pepco's Climate Ready Pathway to DC multi-year plan. This endorsement stems from a deep commitment to our members, their families, and the communities we serve. The emphasis on local in our union's name is not mere symbolism. It underscores our members' intimate connection with the area and the areas they serve. Many are Pepco ratepayers themselves, further highlighting our vested interest in the utilities operations. Pepco's plan promises significant benefits, including the creation of 3,800 job opportunities. These positions offer competitive wages, comprehensive benefits, vital for sustaining families and strengthening communities. The proposed investment in the grid necessitates the skilled labor of our members. These projects are pivotal for the modernization of the grid by installing more modern equipment and smart technologies to meet the evolving customer needs. With many initiatives spanning multiple years, they provide stable employment and excellent benefits, ensuring prosperity of our workers, and allows the contractors long-term foresight into the market to help offset mobilization and tooling costs. Utility sector remains one of the few avenues of achieving middle-class status, and Pepco's plan not only enhances the infrastructure, but also provides meaningful employment opportunities for district residents. Most notably, many of our workers are among these residents, further underscoring the plan's positive impact on the local community. Local Union 70 provides local skilled labor and an opportunity for long, stable careers that are pillars for families to grow on, providing good health care and to help to provide a quality education for their children. I urge you to support Pepco's Climate Ready Plan DC. By doing so, you endorse the modernization of the grid and the sustainability of our employment for district residents. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Powers. I don't have any questions.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. Deidre Joy?
I want to thank the commissioners for allowing me to speak today. My name is Deirdre Joy. I'm a long-term resident of the District of Columbia. I live in Ward 1. I'm also a member of Third Act DC. Third Act is an elder-led organization committed to safeguarding the climate and democracy. And I am primarily here as a PEPCO residential ratepayer. And I've been watching my electricity rates steadily climb over the years. I lived in my current home for 15 years, and over that period of time, residential customer distribution charges have risen, as others have mentioned, far faster than the cost of living. I can afford, however grudgingly, to pay these increases. But according to the Office of the People's Counsel, this particular proposal by PEPCO would make housing in the district unaffordable for the bottom 20% of district households. And what this brings to mind for me is my father, who does not live in the district, but I think that his story is probably, it's not unique, and it probably does occur in the district as well. My father lives across the river in Arlington, in the house I grew up in. He's 93 years old. At that age, he lives independently. He's pretty impressive, but at that age, thermoregulation is tough. So when I go to his house, I know to wear a t-shirt any time of year because he has to keep the heat up pretty high just to be comfortable. And he could probably handle a 20%, a huge rate increase like what is being asked here. But I think about the number of elderly, lower income district residents in his same shoes who would have a real tough time paying for that. I haven't heard a lot this evening about the residents of the district and the burden that these costs would be placed on them. I mentioned I'm a member of Third Act, and one of our core issues is protecting against the climate crisis. I'm all for electrification. I'm not for greenwashing. PEPCO claims the rate increase is needed to enable a big shift to electrification. This sounds reasonable, except that the district government electrification roadmap already found that PEPCO's current system can handle the projected electrification loads from buildings and transport up through the year 2032. In fact, PEPCO's own electrification plan to the commission found that future load growth due to electrification of all buildings in DC will remain within recent historical ranges. Respectfully, there is no basis for the planned capital investments in the district electrification policy. And lastly, I take issue with the use of a multi-year rate plan. As others have mentioned, the first multi-year rate plan has yet to be reviewed by the Commission to assess successes and failures. I think it would be premature to consider an additional multi-year plan before the first one has been properly assessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Joy.
Thank you for your testimony, Ms. Joy. Without getting in too deeply into your business, and you don't have to answer this if you wouldn't like to, but you said you've been in your home for about 15 years and you've seen growth in your bill.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, maybe 15? I remember my water bill, so I won't pick on anybody in the room. My water bill 15 or so years ago was $40 a quarter. Now I feel like it's over $200 a month.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have
similar.
Experienced similar growth, or can you describe?
Well, certainly, yes.
Not your water bill, but your
right.
electric
Yeah.
bill.
Yeah. That's, I just, like most families, you pay attention to those bills when our kids were growing up. You pay attention to to where the thermostat is and are the doors closed and all of that. It just seems as though even though our kids are all moved away now, the bills are certainly not lower and they do seem higher. Yeah, so we're talking 15-year time range. Yeah, thank you.
Next, I'll call Miss Dottie Levade. Is that correctly? Lovewade, sorry, I apologize.
So.
Sorry about that.
I have to say good evening to my,
Booting up my iPad. I think I can read it from my phone though.
Dottie.
Hello.
It's so good to see you. Dottie and I served on the school board together for years. So it's good to see her, a longtime resident of Ward 1.
Thank you. And I was going to especially speak to you, Commissioner Trabue. Good evening, Chairman Thompson, Commissioner Beverly, and my longtime colleague and fellow school board member, Commissioner Trabue. My name is Dottie Love Wade, and I'm here today to express my support for PEPCO, especially the initiative for climate-ready pathways, the multi-year rate plan, and advocate for the approval of formal case 1176 by the Public Service Commission. As a native Washingtonian and a dedicated public servant with extensive experience in both the district and federal governments, as well in private sector, I've always been committed to fostering positive community development and supporting initiatives that promise a brighter, more sustainable future for our city. My involvement as a board chairman for several nonprofits, executive director of the DC Lottery and Charitable Games Control Board, advisor to the Department of Hire Vehicles, and especially as a 22-year commissioner for Ward 1, A1. It has given me a unique perspective on the critical importance of reliable modern energy infrastructures to our community's growth and resilience. As my capacity as an active member of the Harvard Substation Community Advisory Group, we call it CAG, I've had the privilege of working closely with PEPCO's external affairs and project managers on the transformative Capital Grid project. Now that is so important to our community. I can express to you how important that Capital Grid project has been to our community. Prior to the Capital Grid and with the development of the Columbia Heights community, which we were so happy to see, we started to experience extreme brownouts. Now, I've lived in my neighborhood for 50 years, in my home for 50 years. In my neighborhood, well, I'm not going to tell you how many years, because I have to then shoot everybody. We never experienced blackouts and brownouts. But after the development up in Columbia Heights, the pressure on the community was extensive. And I worked with PEPCO in the process of developing the upgrades for the Harvard substation. And I can tell you that they worked very closely with us, especially, it may not mean much to some people, but to old school people like me, they maintained the historical features and structure of the external parts of the building, which meant a great deal to our community, which has been ravaged, of course, you know, with the modern buildings destroying the quaint neighborhoods that we love so much. So I'm going to get back to that. But I thought it was very important that you know how important this Capital Grid development has been to our community. Keeping that in mind, we know we got to pay for it. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but I think we all have to spread it out because we're going to all benefit from this Capital Grid expansion. So it's important for us. So this multi-year rate increase plan will help us especially seniors such as myself, who are on fixed incomes. And we get a little slip every year telling us what our cost of living increase is going to be and how much money we're going to have. So it's helpful to us to know what our other expenses are going to be during that year. So I feel that this multi-year rate plan will assist us in that. And it'll be a benefit to everybody in the community, not just the businesses, but it will definitely have an impact on the residents. It'll also have an impact on our seniors because they also offer a residential aid discount for seniors that may result in a more negligible increase in our rates. But let's be real, we know it's going to cost to upgrade our systems. It's going to cost to put in these electric power ports that I hear everybody asking for. I'm going to get an electric car. I'm not moderate income. I'm just a senior on a fixed income. But I know how important it's going to be to not only our environment, but also into how long our automobiles may actually last us. So a long-term investment. So let me go back to here, to my prepared notes. So I don't want to miss anything. Okay. So I went on about my involvement as an active CAG member. But I want to speak again to the fact that PEPCO has been involved with the community. Now, I've served on the Advisory Neighborhood Commission for 22 years. That's a lot of terms. That's a lot of public meetings. And PEPCO came to many of our public meetings from, I think, started around 2016 when they started talking to the community about the upgrades to the Harvard substation and the improvements to the Capitol grid. And so since that time, I really can't tell you how many meetings we've had. I know it's been numerous. They've kept us abreast of it. The main thing is that the Harvard substation is in my single member district. So I had most hands-on contact with all of the managers and the crews. They worked great. So in November 2023, PEPCO sponsored an open house designed to inform the community of the multi-year plan. The commitment to building a stronger, smarter, and cleaner energy for the future of the district particularly impressed me. And so I strongly support the idea of the multi-year rate increase, which allows residents to plan ahead and budget for increased monthly costs, blah, 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 you know, all of that stuff. I don't want to keep going over it, but I think it's very important that you know that in developing this multi-year plan, PEPCO put a lot of thought into it. And they really did work with the community. And they looked at the seniors, because that's my thing. And I always want to know, how does this impact the seniors? And I think they responded to me sufficiently so that I will support this initiative. So, in final, I urge that the Public Service Commission approve formal case 1176, recognizing the significant benefits this plan promises to community and future generations. And I thank you for your attention and consideration.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Again, it's good to see you, Ms. Love Wade, and always appreciate residents who come before us to testify and on very important matters like this one. With the Harvard station, you said you were intimately involved in the work and worked alongside your community as well, and with the executives from PEPCO. What were some of the things that were important to you in terms of the redevelopment or expansion of the Harvard station? What did you guys want? What did you get? And what were some of the things that maybe were left on the table?
Well, the main thing is that they were very considerate of the community and the neighbors that would be impacted by this redevelopment of the station. That to me was critical. They stayed in constant contact with the ANC commission, with me in particular, with the residents whose Homes were impacted by the dust and noise and the traffic. And that was the outpouring of that was our community action program that we meet quarterly, but more often as necessary. One of the great impacts is we'll have less brownouts. Our services won't be impacted as much. I think that that substation took a great load off of us.
Were you having brownouts due to
Excessive
wasn't
use.
enough electricity that could come into the area, or you weren't having trees fall and things like that?
No.
Your
It
system
was
underground
because
where you
of
live.
excessive use of the greater demand. Once you put 50 new apartment buildings housing 200 apartments, that puts a great strain on any utility.
And these brownouts were going on for how long?
Well, actually, until they started doing the switchover.
I mean, a couple of years?
Couple of years, yes, absolutely. Several years. And they were not fun, and then some blackouts, which were definitely no fun. So this improvement in our substation will alleviate those situations. And you know, in urban neighborhoods, a blackout is a dangerous thing for our residents. Because everybody's not home when it happens. And one of our neighbors actually was accosted parking her vehicle during a blackout. So, no, they're not fun. And they've been alleviated, hopefully.
Right. And the switchover, you said, was about how long?
It's ongoing now.
Okay. And you've seen improvement in your service, you're saying?
Yes, and I hope to see a stabilization in my rates. I'm getting solar, and I suggest everybody else do too.
Okay.
That'll help your electric bills, guys.
All right. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'll call Mr. John Shaw to the podium.
Thank you, Commissioner, for this opportunity to speak with you. Please excuse me, I'm not accustomed to addressing a group in public like this. I'm a long-term resident of the Shaw neighborhood for 20 years. I'm also a member of the Mount Vernon CAG. I'm in total support of PEPCO's proposed Climate Ready Pathway DC. I've attended several open houses. They've gone to great extent to educate the public about these changes, these proposals. And I was an early supporter of the Mount Vernon substation. There was some discussion over the beginning of that substation, but I think I was always a very early supporter of that and other components of the Capital Grid project. I think it's particularly important to have an energy that's necessary for the technologies to harden the system against cybersecurity threats, which are ever growing. I had a thing this morning that I had to chase down. I think it's critical equipment is needed to support the PEPCO crews during inclement weathers and to enhance the system in general. I support in particular the 3-year prorate structure. I think that is a reasonable way of spreading out, as the former speaker said, spreading out the cost. I've watched this District of Columbia grow significantly. I live up near S and 7th. We have new buildings that have been completed, new ones that are in construction. There's a total of 8 new multifamily large buildings that are being planned in that area. And I just cannot see the current electricity supplying that many new buildings. They're large buildings, all of them. I live in a tiny little house and my consumption is not very high, but when you look at these large buildings, you can imagine how much electricity that they will consume. I think these are necessary upgrades. PEPCO has demonstrated its commitment to being a valued partner in the Shaw community. They've had many, many meetings that I've attended. They're very engaging. Many of my associates through other work, they're long-term PEPCO employees and communicators. These have been in ANC meetings, farmer markets, open street events, all of these things. I'm also very concerned about climate change. I'm a medical person by profession, and we're going to need more and more energy to secure climate in the case of extreme heat, which the district is known for, and maybe not extreme cold, but maybe, we don't know. It's just everything is becoming a lot less predictable. In brief, I fully support PEPCO's commitment to this climate-ready future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Were there any questions?
Nope. Thank you very much for your testimony.
Now I will turn to, I don't know if we have anybody else who's listening in who wishes to speak. If you do, please press the raise hand function and we will acknowledge you.
Mr. Darren Jones.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commission members. My name is Darren Jones, and I'm the president of the Pleasant Plains Civic Association. Thank you for allowing me to talk to you virtually. The Pleasant Plains Civic Association was founded in 1921. It operates in the Lower Georgia Avenue and Sherman Avenue corridors, where the Harvard substation is. Members and officers of the Pleasant Plains Civic Association support PEPCO's proposed climate-ready pathway DC multi-year rate plan and ask that they work with the DC Office of the People's Council to implement this plan in a way that is fair and economically sustainable for DC residents. The association supports the infrastructure investments PEPCO has and will make to ensure the grid continues to meet the needs of the customers and the neighborhood. PEPCO's reliability has improved significantly in our neighborhood, as Dottie Love Wade had just said, over the past few years because of investments which it has made. For example, we partnered with PEPCO to upgrade the Harvard substation in the Columbia Heights, Pleasant Plains neighborhood. As part of the larger Capital Grid project, the Harvard substation upgrade increases the capacity of the system and upgrades infrastructure service in our neighborhood. We partnered with PEPCO on the aesthetics of the substation, and PEPCO made improvements in the landscaping and curb appeal of the facility. We appreciate PEPCO involving the community and including the association as part of the Community Advisory Group, the CAG group as they called it, established to enhance community engagement for the project. Investments like the Capital Grid project help to make improvements to the grid, which is a direct benefit to customers. Our neighborhood, like many other communities throughout the community, is growing with new apartment complexes, developments, and grocery stores. We recognize the investments to the grid will be needed to accommodate the growth and load anticipated in the future. We also support PEPCO's efforts to enable climate solutions as part of this plan. This investment the investments made will allow for more electric vehicle charging stations, more rooftop and community solar, as well as support more all-electric buildings. We understand that PEPCO has a vital role to play as we seek to address climate change and reduce the carbon footprint. Under the multi-year rate plan, PEPCO has proposed expanding energy assistance programs. Our neighborhood has many senior citizens and moderate income families and residents who cannot sustain higher costs. Expanding these programs helps working families, seniors, and moderate and low income residents keep costs down. In addition, PEPCO has continued to be a community partner. They have participated in community events such as Columbia Heights Day and Celebrate Petworth. They also provided turkeys to seniors and families during the Thanksgiving holiday last year. We support PEPCO's efforts to make investments to the grid for the future as part of the climate-ready pathway DC multi-year rate plan, and again ask that they work with the DC Office of the People's Council to implement this plan in a way that is fair and economically sustainable for DC residents. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Much appreciated.
Anybody else? Brenda?
Allison Bates Warnup Razone.
Hi. Thank you to the commission and commission staff for this hearing. My name is Allison Bates Wanup, and I am speaking on behalf of Rhizome, a climate change resilience planning software company located in the district. We recommend that the Public Service Commission initiate a resilience working group to explore the sufficiency of the proposed resilience and reliability investments. First, we note the testimony submitted on behalf of the District of Columbia on January 12th, 2024, specifically the section beginning on page 30, asserting that PEPCO's climate ready grid represents traditional reliability investments. One way to ensure that resilience goals are being met in the face of more frequent and intense extreme weather is to implement certain measures, such as conducting a climate change vulnerability study, developing a set of resilience metrics, and articulating a methodology for quantifying cost benefit to ensure resilience plans are being adequately assembled. States such as New York, Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Connecticut, California, and others have implemented one or more of these measures. Second, one of the outcomes of the MedSys working groups in 2018 was the, quote, opportunity to define resilience at the distribution level, end quote. While 5 of the working groups contained elements and references to resilience, there was not a concerted effort to evaluate resilience on its own. Given all this, and given that extreme weather events are worsening and resilience has not been comprehensively evaluated, Rhizome recommends a separate resilience working group to articulate and define what measures and processes are appropriate for evaluating resilience investments. A similar conclusion was reached by the Maryland Public Service Commission in order number 90948, issued in December 2023 in docket 9692. Specifically, the commission says on page 85 that a resilience plan should include input from state and local emergency management personnel and other stakeholders. And the commission then stated that it would open an administrative docket to consider the implementation of resiliency standards and objectives, metrics by which to measure the effectiveness of resiliency investments, resiliency reporting requirements, and penalties for failure to meet any agreed upon resiliency standard or objectives. So we recommend that the DC Public Service Commission take similar action here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cassandra Joseph.
Yes, good evening, commissioners and everyone. My name is Cassandra Joseph. I'm a longtime proud resident of Adams Morgan. I am a native Washingtonian, and I'm very thankful to have these sessions here for the public to be able to come before you to voice our opinions. I've been working closely also a little bit with PEPCO. I was the board of director for many years of the cooperative income housing cooperative multifamily that I reside in. And I was able to see a little bit more about how the businesses run and how the bills are paid and what cost effectiveness and so forth, and many plans that we could make. So I was thankful to be invited to the open community meeting that we had last winter. And there I found that we are engaged in the Champlain Street substation, and we're very happy to know that. We've seen much work done. We also feel that it is benefiting our city. I've heard many comments from friends all around the city that the Capital Grid program has really been helping them in their neighborhood. And we're also thankful for the opportunity that PEPCO is providing to help us with the subsidized programs to pay our utilities. It has also given me opportunity to be a little more, have a little more insight as to what we're really doing here. So when I meet cab drivers and I'm on my senior transportation and people are complaining about the construction and different things of that nature, I can say to them, well, it's for a good reason, and just give them a little bit of knowledge of what I've learned. And then they say, oh, okay. So it's really like just sharing and helping others to understand what it is we are doing, because we must enter the future. We must be ready for anything that may happen. And yes, it is going to cost us. And I am a senior citizen. So I'm continuing to study, I'm continuing to listen. But at this point, I can say that I uphold this program. And I want to thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph.
I'm fine. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, at the end, did she say she opposed the plan or supported?
Support.
Supported. Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else on the WebEx who would like to testify? Okay. We will go to our last walk-in, and then I'm going to call on People's Council. But first, I'm going to call on Mr. Padro. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I'm Alexander Padro, Executive Director of Shaw Main Streets, an award-winning commercial revitalization and historic preservation nonprofit organization that has facilitated the community-driven redevelopment of Washington, D.C.'s Shaw neighborhood since 2003. I am also an 11-term advisory neighborhood commissioner, currently representing single-member District 2G02. I have lived in the Shaw neighborhood for nearly 30 years. I have watched the Shaw community grow dramatically through commercial and residential development. In the past 2 decades, over a dozen new apartment complexes have come online, and hundreds of new bars, restaurants, and other businesses have opened along the 6th, 7th, 9th, and 11th Street corridors. A new convention center, library, recreation center, and Banneker High School opened in Central Shaw. Needless to say, we've seen our share of development, and there's more to come, some under construction and others in the planning phase. I support PEPCO's efforts to make needed upgrades and investments in its infrastructure to keep pace with the energy needs of our growing neighborhood and city. I have been a part of the community advisor group for the Mount Vernon substation, which is part of the Capital Grid project and included in the multi-year plan. The substation is a major investment that will help to maintain reliability in the area and to account for escalating load growth. Projects like these, which are part of PEPCO's multi-year plan, allow the utility to prepare for the future and address our growing needs for a more reliable electrical grid that addresses the needs for residential and commercial EV charging stations and expanding adoption of solar power. I support PEPCO's plans to maintain and upgrade the system with its multi-year rate plan. Thank you for the opportunity to testify this evening.
Thank you for those comments, Mr. Padro.
Thank you very much.
People's Council.
Thank you, and I promise I'll be very brief. I know we've all been here for a while, but I was sitting here and listening to the testimony of the witnesses, and there were a number of things that just caught me. And I think that one thing, we're asking the wrong questions. It is good that PEPCO is helping small minority businesses. That's a good thing. But we need to look at what the actual request is. PEPCO bears the burden of proof. And what that means is that it goes well beyond just having paid witnesses, and I'm not criticizing them, but paid witnesses who come and support their position. In addition, it's not enough to have these meetings that we're not invited to convince their representatives or patrons to support their position. It's necessary for everyone to hear what the other parties have to say, because this information that they're hearing is one-sided, and it also reflects a direct benefit that they are receiving, whether it is a cash payment or an investment in their business. So that's, that is one thing. That's $190.7 million of revenue or rates that will be taken from ratepayers. Every cent of that needs to be justified and not just blanketly given to PEPCO. The other issue is, and one that I haven't heard mentioned at all tonight, is that this application increases the company's profit level. It's taking its rate of return, which is its profit, basically, if you sort of break it down into what the term really means, from 9.8 to 10.5%. That is their projected, that is the difference between their requests. That's profit. And that profit level is much larger than the money that they are giving to the city. Now, or to the city and to people that are benefiting, some of the people that are here tonight. And while those are good things, and I really do feel that supporting businesses, supporting minority businesses is an excellent thing. I have supported that throughout my career. But we also have to keep in mind that that is a corporate obligation. They are a major company in the District of Columbia. They are receiving tax benefits. They are also receiving interest, and their shareholders are benefiting. They should be doing these things. There's nothing there. I mean, that's the minimal that they can do without having an increase that's not justified, and that is really on residential ratepayers, particularly those that are, it's on residential ratepayers. 43% of the increase will be placed on residential ratepayers, and that's all ratepayers, those that can technically afford it and those that cannot. That is another problem that they're not addressing. The other thing that I just have to say something about, because every time I hear mention of it, is the Infrastructure Academy, which I actually commend PEPCO. They have done an excellent job of educating and providing training for our residents, for our young residents. But, and this is me ringing out the OPC bell, that was a settlement provision of the merger case that OPC fought hard to get. And we were successful in having them accepted. And now they have, they have actually put it into operation, and it's doing an excellent job. But they did not come up with that idea. It was an OPC recommendation that they accepted in exchange for approval of, or our agreement to settle the merger application or the merger case. So what I'm saying is that when we look at any corporation, when we look at PEPCO in particular, we have to look at the whole picture. It's nice that they do good things. They're supposed to. They are a corporate entity in the District of Columbia and receiving all of the benefits that come with that. It is nice that they are doing some community education, but that has to be more than one-sided. It has to be the full picture. It has to tell everything. And I definitely request or suggest that everyone in the audience and those that are listening, when the commission has its evidentiary hearings, that they tune in so that they can have and hear what the other parties have to say. And if you don't get an opportunity to do that, read the briefs that the other parties have submitted. And if you don't have an opportunity to do that pile, then reach out to OPC and we can give you our side of the story, which is compelling. and you can reach us at opc-dc.gov. Thank you very much for indulging me, but it's difficult to hear something and not respond to it. Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Fry. And that, I believe, brings us to our
Thank you, Madam People's Counsel.
our last witness, Ms. Autumn Gray.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Autumn Gray. I am a native Washingtonian and a resident of Ward 8. I'm a recent graduate of the DC Infrastructure Academy, and I am currently in training at PEPCO to master my position as a distribution system operator. My role is very critical in supporting overhead and underground linemen due to system outages. My role is also needed to complete critical jobs and projects that allow the electrical grid to function properly. Attending the DC Infrastructure Academy was a wonderful opportunity for me, which put me in the path on the path that I'm currently in now. Before, I worked as a loan officer for 5 years. However, it was important to me to earn more and grow as far as career-wise. I was commission-based, therefore I had to, I leaned on, state insurance as far as health insurance. I do have children, and one of my sons, he was diagnosed with hypoglycemia. So the DCIA program really helped me because I was able to land a career and get adequate insurance for my son. I wanted to earn more and also advance, so they've given me that opportunity as well. OCC, thank you, and PEPCO, thank you. My experience with the Academy could not have been better. The staff was very supportive and worked hard to place graduates in better opportunities so we could better ourselves. Working at PEPCO, it's truly amazing. It's a great company to work for. Everybody has really been invested in our success. And PEPCO encourages employees to seek other opportunities within the company to gain new skills and to advance. I am quickly learning that it takes many individuals at PEPCO and their contractors to maintain and upgrade the grid. I get to see that every day working at the OCC, or Operational Control Center, and I'm one of the people that will be needed for this work to upgrade the grid. PEPCO plans to execute several projects to upgrade the grid for the future. These projects support many jobs and create potential opportunities for graduates of the DC Infrastructure Academy. From my experience, the opportunities at PEPCO can be a real game changer to improve our lives and our community, and they offer a really good salary and the opportunity to earn overtime, which assists the community's economic growth. PEPCO's plan will provide opportunities for other DCIA graduates like myself to support the plan projects and grow and help their families. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Gray.
Ms. Gray, I just wanted to say thank you for coming down here this evening. It was a pleasure meeting you earlier as we rode up together
Yes.
on the elevator, and I'm so happy to hear about your success after the Infrastructure Academy.
Thank you.
How well you've been able to progress with PEPCO. Just wish you the best of luck in the future with the company.
Thank you all for hearing me speak. Thank you.
Thank you. So I believe at this time, there are no other witnesses. Just want to survey the room one more time and online. Okay, no, okay. A few final comments. PEPCO's application was filed on April 13th, 2023, and all subsequent filings in the proceeding can be reviewed on the Commission's website, which is www.dcpsc.org. Once at the website, open up the eDocket tab, click on Search Database, and input FC1176. That will show all the pleadings in this case. some of which Madam Fry talked about. A transcript of today's community hearing will also be available there within 48 hours of this hearing. Anybody who wishes to provide additional written comments or just written versions of their statements here today, as I mentioned earlier, please email them to our Commission Secretary, Ms. Brenda Westbrook Sedgwick, at her email address, which is psc-commissionsecretary@dc.gov. You have until April 26, 2024 to do so. Tonight is the last community hearing we will have, so we certainly thank everybody for coming out and participating tonight and previous nights. I'd like to give a special shout out, a sign of appreciation to staff who coordinated and participated in all three hearings. Thank you for your time. And I hope everybody has a good evening, gets home safe, and stays dry. Thank you.